So my name is Jason. I go by Lost Midas, and I'm here in the UK, London, by way of Los Angeles, California, on a little tour to support my debut album called Off the Course. And you guys will be hearing some tracks off that record tonight, so should be fun. My process varies. I think it largely comes from a melody that may just kind of pop into my head. And I've got the voice memo app on my iPhone, and I very quickly, no matter where it is, will go off and record that idea. Sometimes kind of awkwardly on a public street. I'm like the dude whispering lyrics into a iPhone voice recorder. La 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 la. It's like, what's that guy doing over there? But that's kind of, the ideas are spontaneous or perhaps inspired by events in my life, whether it be like personal life, breakups with girlfriends, or some crazy experience I had with friends. Usually it's inspired by some sort of event or happening, but I suppose the process is typically begins with a melody that I sing, and then I take that idea to the recording studio and it becomes entirely something different. So that's typically how it goes for me. Well, it's kind of like selfish escapism, I suppose. Yeah, although my music is definitely inspired by the busyness and craziness of LA, I'd say it's more so inspired by the natural surroundings of the city. And you know, it's kind of like it's therapy when I'm having some, when stuff is difficult, when life is difficult. Sometimes the music provides an escape and is largely inspired by like the landscape around where I'm at. Yeah. Like in Los Angeles, there's a lot of natural beauty not far outside the city, which I'm kind of taken by. And all of us there drive cars because we have no choice. So I think a lot of my music is inspired by like a soundtrack to driving through the city. And that's kind of indirectly why I named the album Off the Course, because I feel like a lot of my album tracks are inspired by beautiful drives through the mountains or on the coast and the beach, which we're very privileged to have lots of there in California. So, yeah, as a matter of fact, I use kind of a combination of Ableton and Logic and Machine. And the folks at Native Instruments have been very generous, and I've been using a Machine Studio to record some newer tracks, which has been incredibly inspiring because some of the sounds on there and the workflow is, I'm a drummer by trade previous to doing the producer thing. So as opposed to using a keyboard to sequence drums or drawing them in, I like to have a more organic approach, and having these pads, 16 pads on a piece of gear really helps to get the ideas out there and to capture them in real time. It's pretty cool. So largely just my laptop, my MacBook Pro, Machine, some outboard gear occasionally depending upon the song, and of course vocals. I'll record through like some vintage Neve preamps, or I can get all geeky with the tech stuff. I'm employing a API 500 series lunchbox with some Shadow Hills pre's and a compressor, which is really nice. Sounds nice and warm. So that's pretty much it. I often make my music even in my car, for example. If I'm like stuck in traffic, I'll whip out my laptop and plug it into the aux end in my car stereo, which is probably not the best idea. And if I ever got pulled over and they saw like this mini recording studio set up in the front seat, I'm sure that cop would be like, what are you doing? But yo, check out this beat I just made. So I like it. I make music everywhere. I'm inspired by just the ability not to always have to be in the recording studio, which can seem kind of like a day gig, an office gig where you go into that same spot every day, which I don't mind doing, but I kind of like, I'll make music on the train, I'll make music in my car, pretty much wherever. And I think that having using Logic and Ableton and the modern digital computer music technology allows for that kind of flexibility with creation. So.